Hey guys, welcome to another Crypto Lab with Alex, featured by Trading Analysis. As you know, there is a lot of excitement on the markets. Fed meeting has been relatively looking forward, I would say, from Fed officials yesterday. So we got some visibility from the Fed on the futures of their plan to tame inflation with a couple of rate hikes more before a probable pause. So we will dive into rates, little bit of macro overview, and then of course we will switch to cryptos. So let's start. You can leave your comments or questions or some crypto requests in the chat box. And let's dive into this very interesting developments. Some of the targets we have been looking for a long time has been met. And let me start with this Fed meeting rates on the next 27th of July. So 75 basis points hike, which was I would say kind of pushed from Jerome Powell between 50 and 75. He explained they decided maybe they're going to do a 75 once more, and then they're going to be data dependent how the inflation actually will behave, and they will move forward. So we can basically expect another 75 basis move on the next meeting, which will put us in a range between 225 to 3%. Inflation came at 8.4 or 8.6, sorry, in the last reading. So lots of also central banks are behind the curve. We also witnessed a change of a stance on the ECB, but not on the meeting. That was very funny. They announced change, but they left the rates at zero. So they're probably going to move in the next meeting on the upside. So inflation is still basically free floating on the upside. Rates are moving on the upside. Fed is still inflationary, has inflationary outlook. So a pretty tough environment for the risk on assets, as we have seen Bitcoin move to our 20K target. Of course, we need to hold these levels, and I will explain that using the charts. So let's start. Let's move what's going on a 10-year yields. As we looked in the last couple of crypto labs, we looked for this fourth wave lows and the moving higher in rates, which actually happened. We are trading now at 3.39. So we do think that this is possibly in the range of the 5-wave move, and we do expect some type of a pause. We are hitting some of the levels which in the last 10-15 years, if we go back, we are seeing that there is a significant resistance around this level. So I do expect, looking also the other charts, that we pull back in some commodities, which will bring, at least for some part, inflation lower. So I do expect these rates just to have a small pause, most likely in some type of a triangulation before potentially we continue higher. From the technical perspective, through the Elliott Wave lens, we do see 5 waves up. I will enlarge this for you so you can see it more clearly. And we also have seen this relatively nice divergence on the weekly. If we look historically, we can see that every highs in the RSI on this higher time frame, and I do look RSI only on this higher time frame because I think it's more reliable. We have seen some type of a sustainable other continuation or a pullback. So I do expect, especially with this divergence, small divergence, that we maybe spend some time on these levels up, back and forth, and then we might produce some type of either a triangle or a smaller complex correction, which might last for some time in the rates before we continue further on the upside. So our stance from the last couple of crypto labs didn't change. We got what we actually looked for the small it's not small, it's from 2.61 to 3.4, move on the upside, post this fourth wave lows, and we are looking now for this wave high to complete. So we have a wave 1 and 2 up in 3, 4, and 5, so potentially a little bit more upside before I think we see some type of a consolidation, or at least sideways movements in rates, and some type of a considerable pause, because I think markets has priced in lots of these hikes in it, and it will be natural after a 5-way move that we see some type of a consolidation. On the European front, we are seeing rates moving rapidly on the upside. So this is a 5-wave sequence. Of course, we have broke a 40-year trend, if you see on the German 10-year Bund. So this goes way back to 1980. And if you connect just these higher highs, of course, it is very visible that we broke this trend very sharply on the upside. And again, through the Elliott Wave lens, this is a very sharp vertical rise, which we usually characterize as a wave 3 of 3, which might be over. And I also see some type of a wave 4, wave 5 on this intermediary level, if we call this a primary development, and then a pause before we do complete somewhere around middle of 2023 this wave 5 on the upside. So this is definitely now looks very impulsive on the upside, and we expect a 5-wave sequence to complete in the next couple of months, which means that we're going to go in a small pause back and forth 4, 5, and then higher degree 3, 4, before we continue on the upside. So I do see a little bit of back and forth also in the European yields, I mean on 10-year German Bund. If we switch to dollar index, we looked for a move higher, which actually happened, of course, on the rate announcements yesterday. We do see this as some type of a 5-wave development. There is also a divergence between this high and current development on this weekly level, which suggests a little bit of a slowdown, potentially in some type of a wave 4, and then a small continuation on the upside. Of course, I would not like to see dollar to go around 112, 113, which would be pretty detrimental either for the US because of the exports, or the emerging markets because of the debts denominated in the US dollar. So I will be at least a little bit conservative on a possibility of moving up again to 108, 106, 108. And then we will look for at least some type of a corrective pullback on dollar before we continue higher. So 5-wave sequence, or whatever you actually count this, it suggests that after a pullback we might see a continuation. So even if you do an ABC, some type of an X wave, and this is a wave A down in B up in C, or this is just a ABC pullback in some B wave, definitely on both these wave counts we will see some type of a considerable pullback before dollar continues further higher, but it is on a couple of years span. So currently in this moment we do count this as a possible ending sequence in this 5-wave move. We expect a little bit of consolidation, maybe small pop-up, and then a reversal, which I can confirm also on some other currencies, which I will show you, at least on a commodities one. So if we look the Thomson Reuters index, we are starting to move lower. I still cannot tell if this move up in 5 waves is down, or we're going to see some type of a flat and a little bit more on the upside. But anyhow, I think we are trading in the range where we are going to see again a pause. This is the 35 commodities comprised in this index. I do expect some type of a pause also, which kind of aligns with the rates. If you overlay this Thomson Reuters index with the US 10-year yield, you will see that they have a nice nice correlation. As you can see here, not so ideal, but we are going higher in this direction. The rates are leading, as you can see here, while the commodities are starting to pull back. So maybe this is just a heads up for the rates as well to move lower in some type of consolidation. So I do see a 5-way move completed, or a little bit more on the upside to complete, and then we will fall in some type of a complex correction, some type of a sideways pause before we continue higher. So if we switch to oil, and if we look what's going on the oil market, oil also has been trading pretty much sideways in the range. We have been addressing this for a longer time now, looking this consolidation, and until we break any of these levels, oil is definitely some type of a sideways movements, which we usually label either as a triangle or as some type of a complex correction. But I'm afraid, looking at this chart, that the continuation on the oil price most likely will break higher. Wherever you see some type of these consolidations without breaking significantly any of these ranges, usually that's just accumulation of the energy before we continue in the trend, in the direction of a trend. And I've shown you this chart many times. This is a longer term wave count on oil. I will have to put it on a line to look whole of the wave structure. So if we look from the beginning of these charts, which goes way back to almost, I think it's 1820s, of course, we can see a 5-wave sequence very clearly. So there is a wave 1 and 2, a nice development up in a wave 3, a complex correction down in a wave 4. So I do see oil going on a new highs. Some of the levels which I have are pretty large. As you remember, maybe a couple of months ago, we were calling from these levels around 90 to 140, which was pretty high at that time. So I'm going to continue to look for this oil higher. I don't know which type of scenarios will bring that price on the upside, but I don't see any signs for now to actually change this trend. So this I can characterize just as a pause, which usually means a continuation in the direction of the current trend, which is obviously on the upside. So we might be living with the heightened oil prices for the next couple of years, as these charts suggest. A break of this level around 70 to 72 will make me change my mind for this oil wave count, but I cannot do that now in this moment, because this consolidation usually foretells a trend continuation. If we look also the net gas, we had a nice reversal from our levels. We have been looking for a move on the upside in the net gas. This is the Henry Hub futures. And as you can see, we reached our 1618 projection for the wave 3 target. So there is a nice wave 1 in the leading diagonal, pullback in a wave 2, and then we have a clearly intermediary 5-wave sequence, relatively easy to spot towards these levels around 10.03. We came very close at 970, 980, and then we reversed. Are we going to get one more push touching this level and then reverse, or are we going to reverse from these levels? I don't know that in this moment, but generally, if you look seasonality, we are coming into a summer, a very high temperatures around the world, holidays, so the consumption of gas will be to extent in a lower demand. Paired up with geopolitical risks and gas prices going higher, they might equalize itself with the summer season, and we might get some type of a sideways before, let's say, November, December, where the winter demand will kick in and definitely most likely push the gas prices higher. So from the aspect of seasonality, and also comparing that with the wave count, with this RSI, some type of a divergence. Usually what we look, as I said many times, we look for this divergence from the wave 3 and wave 5, and it is very clear here. We have a pretty nice divergence on this weekly level. So there is lots of sense in this wave count in if we count seasonality, and then from November, December, of course, up to March, we are most likely going to see a fifth wave on the upside towards this 13, 14, 15 where this first 5-wave sequence will actually complete. So let's look gold and silver. Usually I do have a tendency to skip that. I remember that this time. So let me just open this chart and let's look what's going on with the gold and silver on the yesterday's price and today's price action. I didn't see any substantial change on these two charts. They're still trading relatively undecisively directionally. So if we look the gold price, we are label this as a potential wave 2. So if we count this as some type of a wave 5 development and this as an ABC as a flat, but this level needs to hold. If we want to see a confirmation of this uptrend, looking this as some type of a triangle and this as a wave 1, this is a nice ABC pullback down, very deep one in a wave 2, which we actually spotted somewhere around here in the couple of months before. We have to consider that if we break these levels, which are actually marking these lows, gold might be in the scenario to continue lower. Okay, so either you label this as a flat or you label it as a WXY. It really doesn't matter from the, I mean, for the sake of the context. I think that if you don't want to trade against the current trend, which is obviously upside, I think that the context, despite of the labeling, is much more important. So if we continue and break this support level here, we will continue lower towards this 1,670, 1,650. If we label this as a long wave 2, equality comes around close to the end of the year. No, it's September, sorry. I've seen that on some other charts, probably some time relation on the end of the year. So we do see a probability if we break this support level that the gold in some form will continue. So either that will be a straight 5 waves down, completing this as a flat, or it will be a wave A, up in B, down in C, taking a little bit more time, and then this will turn a complex. But at the current situation, we don't have any reason not to look this just as a pause. So usually in the Elliott Wave sequence, like in Bitcoin, we look this as a first correction, this as a secondary correction, and that was followed by the sharp move on the upside in the third wave. So that is the classical Elliott Wave sequence. So if you look the sequence which has 5 waves up, you will also very easily spot that this matches this kind of a fractal script, which we can see actually developing on every market. So we have a wave 1 and 2, which is here. We have a sharp wave 3. We have a pause in a wave 4, which can be a triangle, complex zigzag, flats, and other corrections. And then we have a final push up to actually complete the 5-wave sequence, which we have it exactly here. So we are waiting the response. If the gold starts to develop a clear 5-wave sequence on the upside, challenging usually these previous swing highs, that will actually be labeled as a wave 1 of the initial wave 5, and then probability will increase that after a small pullback, we might continue higher. So watch carefully if you're interested on gold, levels around 1,786 to 80, and especially if we break this consolidation here, I think gold will be poised to continue lower towards the mentioned targets. If we also look silver, silver is, I think, in the similar situation, doesn't give us much of a substance here. It is just gravitating around this 200 moving average on weekly and this 400 and more days support. That doesn't mean that we are at bottom and this is just some type of a basing process. This also can turn into some type of a triangulation and then continue lower. So that's why we usually insist with our members when we are dealing with this type of situation that we look for a confirmation, because if we look the probability, here probability is not very high, we're going to continue higher. But if we have a 5-wave move and then a small pullback, the probability will greatly increase that actually this correction is over, and then we're going to have a continuation. So it is much wiser from the I would say, position, even a swing trading perspective, that you have some type of a confirmation, and this confirmation and your patience will be rewarded by the higher probability and relatively lower stop loss, because if you wait 5 ways up and a 3 ways pullback, your stop loss is on the previous lows, which gives you this as a very small risk to a potentially good reward, instead of picking some bottoms here, which may extend further lower, and then you're in trouble. So from a sustainable trading perspective, if you use Elliott Wave, this is a much more wiser decision, which costs a little bit more patience, but it doesn't cost anything on your trading account, while the impatience and actually chasing some lows can cost you dearly, either in the psychological energy because of the accumulated losses, and of course, depends on the risk, it will cost you money as well from your inventory or your trading account. So from this macro perspective, let's switch to cryptos. Let's look total crypto market cap. I have a question on Nasdaq. I see in the box weekly RSI is very low on Nasdaq. I still don't see a 5-way move here. So from my perspective, I usually look the work of Bennett and Terry on the Wednesday show from the trading analysis, but I will still kind of lean to label this as yet as an ABC. I will not even exclude here some type of a triangulation, but for now I don't see this accelerating on the downside. So let me just explain you what do I think here on Nasdaq. So if we label this as a wave 1 and wave 2 here, and expecting some type of wave 3 on the downside, 4 and 5, that will be very significant on stocks, because then this can be freely labeled as a midterm top on Nasdaq. So if we do form some type of an impulsive price action, and usually wave 3 is the sharpest. So what we should see here, if we want to confirm a wave 3 presence, we need to see a sharp move on the downside, very vertical one, a very unquestioned, relentless selling towards these levels down in order to identify a wave 3 on the downside. We don't see that price action for now, so I don't want to sound bearish, too much bearish. I would like to see confirmation and some type of volatility, directional one, very fast one to the downside, so I can actually label this in some sensible manner. For me, this is still a 3-way move with a possible X wave and then another 3-way move. That will be kind of in line with the visibility that Fed gave us, and maybe this couple of rate hikes was already priced in. Market might find some bottom here, at least a temporary one, make some type of a pullback, and then later if the inflation stays in the elevated and Fed continues to pursue, we might get another similar push. So in that case, that will be a WXY, which will fit with our overall working case scenario, that this is some type of an ending diagonal, and we will have a year or more too when the economy adjusts to higher rates, or possibly higher levels in the stock market. So we don't know that at this moment. It's just a working hypothesis, but I will say I still don't see a confirmation that this is a gloom and doom scenario on stocks, and that we are going to necessarily continue very sharply lower. So I need to see a sharp move down to relabel this as a 1, 2, down in 3, 4, and 5, almost back to the COVID levels. I don't know, guys. I don't think that's very probable. I'm not excluding that in this environment, but that will be a really extreme scenario. I see many people are bearish. I will not be so fast in doing that. Okay, just let me stay on this. If we look the total crypto market cap, we are basically at our target. So this chart is very interesting one, as well as a Bitcoin chart, because if you look the RSI, and I just found the thing from Zero Hedge, which actually said that Bitcoin weekly RSI and here is on the historical low, as you can see. So when you have this low in the RSI historically, and you have some type of a movement lower, which is actually still above the wave 1 high, there is a large probability this is either a wave 4. I have seen some guys move this wave 3 here and label this as a wave 4 or a triangle. I will go to that version only if I see another 3 waves up in the total crypto market cap as a counter trend red. Okay, so I'm not prepared to switch that currently. I want to see clearly a 3-wave move and not continuation on the upside if we hold these levels, and then another so I can relabel this chart. So for now, I like it to have it still as it was from 2021. Our target levels are reached, and we have issued some of the warnings with our members that we should prepare for a possible confirmation and that we might see a continuation on the upside. So what is the problem with that? I mean, there is no problems even if you switch this on a triangle wave count, which is an interesting proposal. I might say you will actually have this as the lowest point reached in the wave A. Okay, so anyhow, this will be the low. From that perspective, if you look this type of a triangulation, so let's say this will be the wave A, up in B, down in C, D, and E, you will see this line converging in contracting type further. So this will be the higher high, and this will be even higher high, lasting a couple of more months, and then continuation of the up. So anyhow, this will be the low from this perspective. But as I said, I'm not prepared to move to this scenario. I still look that crypto winter started earlier, and I think it's going to become something of a surprise and a spring higher before everybody thinks, because the sentiment is very negative, and I think we are in the midst of the black sentiment, where is usually a seed of a reversal. I don't, of course, expect reversal to be something abrupt or something so drastic. When you have this type of events, of course, it depends on other asset classes. You will usually have back and forth for a couple of weeks. People will jockey for positions. Somebody will go long, and somebody will believe that the trend is down, will short, and then the other guys will go long, and you will form some type of a base. But confirmation will definitely challenge these previous swing highs here. And then on a pullback, if you see 5 waves up, that will confirm you actually that the new 5-wave sequence is actually starting. And pretty much the situation is the same on a Bitcoin. We have reached our mentioned levels. I have been talking about this for many last crypto labs. Also, RSI is almost historically at lows. 200 moving averages there. We have penetrated these 200 moving averages before for a bar or for a week. As you can see, so I will not pay so much attention for this penetration, and if I want to confirm the further uptrend, I will look for a 5-wave move challenging some of these previous swing highs and a pullback. So we have been patient, avoiding lots of these mind traps in past with our members, so we will be, of course, patient to wait for a small confirmation before we start to load in. And even, as I said, if you move this wave 3 here and you depict a triangle here, this will be the lowest points of the mentioned triangle. So it really doesn't matter. It will just extend a little bit more in time. So I'm still going to keep pursuing this version. This cannot be flat because you will see 5 waves down. A wave count invalidation on a Bitcoin is around 3,500, and a penetration of this wave count invalidation will nullify my view, and actually will be pretty disastrous for the Bitcoin because in that case, after some type of a pullbacks, you can even go back to 6 to 4K to the previous 4th wave levels, which are here. I don't actually think yet, I don't have any evidence of that will appear. As I said, I will tolerate a little bit back and forth. If we go on daily, we can see that in this C wave down, the 5-wave sequence most likely is going to be over soon. So you have a 5 waves down in 1, up in 2, 5 waves down in a wave 3, very sharp, very vertical, consolidation in some type of triangulation or a complex correction in wave 4, and now we are seeing most likely the end here or a little bit lower over wave 5. So we are trading in our zone mentioned as a possibility already from here, and we will stick to it. Of course, we have to honor our patience and position, and of course we will start to scale in with a very small risk on signs of smaller reversals on a smaller time frame, anticipating, as I said, either even if it is a triangle or a newly created 5 waves up in a couple of weeks. That will be a sign for us to increase our risk for the potential move further on the upside. So people ask me about the targets. First target on the Bitcoin on the upside, if it's the case, we're going to turn from here. It's going to be around 100K. So this is the 5 versus 1, which means sometimes you have the wave 5, which is actually completing the sequence, which is this one, equal to development of the wave 5. So wave 1 and wave 5 are equal around 88 to 100K. Secondary scenario of the extreme prices on the upside will be 160, where is the sum couple of levels. Let me see another ratio here, which goes at 122. So I will go for 120 as an extreme version for a potential target. And then from there, we do see another reversal to the downside in the higher degree, wave 4, as you can see here. So for now, the Bitcoin is following this nice Elliott Wave path script. Ethereum came to our secondary target, so we looked also for a triangle broke. We immediately switched to our secondary scenario, which was published also a long time ago. We are challenging this 200 moving average around 1000 levels. There is a plethora of ratios, 38.2%, which measures a wave 4 from the wave 2. Time ratio also agrees very nicely. And as I said, even in the case you count this as a wave 3 here, this will be the beginning of the A wave in triangle, B, C, D, and E, and then you will have this as the lowest point after Ether breaks higher up to 1000, 10,000, 9,000, 11,000 as a target. So I have a couple of them. We can discuss that as the Ether starts to move further on the upside. I think it's early. So we go into some discussions regarding this target because we need to see some bounce, we need to see some confirmation and some basing process before we start to look higher. Other cryptos came almost exactly to a couple of our targets, especially Polkadot and a couple of others. We looked for Polkadot to come around 5. Which actually I think it touched it for a brief moment. Let me just find the Polkadot. So we have been bearish for Polkadot, so potentially one more push. This doesn't look like completed, it looks like ending diagonal forming in this wave 4. So in that respect, we might have just a touch, one more kiss, or actually our ratio is already been hit. So we look this as a ABC pullback. If you do a 5-way move here and you actually move this wave 1 here, as I said, from the context perspective, it's really not important. This will be the same ABC pullback. So this is the major decision point for Polkadot between 5 and 6. And of course, I do think that we are going to see at least move back to 24, if not a new uptrend on Polkadot, looking our outlook on the Bitcoin. So I'm going to show you Matic, one of the favorites as well. So let me just find it here. So Polygon is trading also at very low RSI historically. We do label this as intermediary wave 4 towards this 38.2. Base channel didn't hold, so we do look this as some type of WXY. Potential support levels are exactly here, so I will allow back and forth plus or minus, but if we go on a smaller time frame, we can also see a post this consolidation a fifth wave continuation on the upside. So it might be also that we are done here, or we have a little bit more on the downside. So I do expect pushback at least up to 0.7 or more on the upside in some type of confirmation that actually this uptrend is starting to be more visible for the traders and investors continuing further on the upside. So my point is, if you look generally the chart and you erase every labels, this is not how the uptrends actually completes. If you look, so you want to see at least two corrections. So I will erase every labeling, just you can see the pictures. So this is not how some type of a trends on the upside actually complete. So if you take a 5-wave sequence and actually kind of paired it with what's going on the, let me just, okay. So this will be a wave 1 and 2, which is identified here. So this will be a wave 3. So this cannot be a wave 4 because comparably it's too small. To a wave 1, usually you look to some similarities. So it is obvious that only this sequence, either in total or this part, can act as a wave 4. Okay, so this means that this wave 4 here, it's going to correct before and complete this correction before we continue higher in this 5-wave sequence. Depends which degree of the trend you look, but as I said, it's really not important, because even if you are in the intermediary trend, like I think we are, you're going to see a 5-wave move further on the upside, okay, and new highs. So I know it's a little bit silly to talk about this currently when this sentiment is so strong on the downside, but this is our preferred method of how do we view the market. So I will stick to my analysis since our targets are reached, and I will go from there and of course investigate that for you in the next Crypto Labs. So guys, let me look what is your comments and questions. I hope you liked the our overview. I must say that these targets acts as a surprise for many participants. I don't know why in that respect, but I also think that these support levels are very visible to any either beginner or just semi-educated technical analyst, okay, let alone some professional. So let's see if this levels hold. XRP, so I see Tonton, hello Tonton, looks for the XRP. My wave count on the XRP didn't change much. I still look for some type of a triangulation here. I think it fits the best. So this is actually an existing data. I just found it that XRP has this wave 1, a large wave 2, nice up in a wave 3. So I will label this as a possible 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and then we off we go up to this levels in a wave 5. So potentially still not done. Of course, we can move this wave C a little bit lower or higher, depends it's going to finish, but I still see a sideways price action from the technical perspective, because when you look these higher time frames, we actually don't break this relatively big range in the last couple of even years. So as long as we stay with this gravitating between these two levels, I think usually that is depicted by triangle. Okay, so I will stick with that for now. Nicola is asking, could I see MTL metal? I don't know what is that, so if you can explain me, I will gladly look at it for you. But let me see if that is just a symbol, MTL. Metals exploration, maybe it's this one. So let's, I always start my wave counts on the higher time frames because you need to see the larger picture. So for now, this has been in a downtrend. This is just a three-way move here. You cannot say, I mean, this, you cannot even put a leading diagonal here. So this is either some type of a triangle or just a pullback with a possible sideways and a continuation down. So for now, I don't see any signs of this developments. So this can prove us that this is some type of reversal. So I have to work on this one. So this is 1, 2, some type of a wave 3, 4, and big wave 5 down in wave 3, and this is wave 4 continuation. So either ABC, triangle X, and a little bit more upside, or a triangle and then a continuation down. So it doesn't look so happy in this moment. In order to change this opinion, as I said before, I always need to see on a smaller time frame some type of five-way move development, which will actually tell me that this downtrend is at least temporarily over. Then after a pullback, we're going to see more upside. So that's how it's easy to navigate when you know your tool and you have a clearly a tool which is actually giving you what you need to see for a confirming price action. Hey Josel, how is it in the Saudi Arabia? I hope I know it's hot, that's for sure. I already looked Polkadot, Bellas. VT oil broke up and came back down. Yeah, just a consolidation. Still yet, I think I very well explained that. Hello, Alex. Hello, Vigentes. Andre Proctor, great work, Alex. Thank you, Andre. Ren, please. I mean, you don't need to say it's a great work. I will see it anyhow, so I'm just joking a bit. Let's see, Ren. What is this? We have some strange spikes here. Let me just look that on a different chart package. So let's see, Ren. Strange chart. Can you give me a name, Andrea, so I can see? Okay, let's wait to give us a different Celsius. I looked Celsius yesterday. It doesn't look for now that catastrophic with all of what is going on. Celsius dollar, basically it's some type of in my opinion, expanding potentially C wave. So this might be an ABC, XABC, or a complex correction, but I mean, you should see something more exuberant on the downside. If you look this, and we don't see that yet. So here, I do see 1, 2, up in 3, and this being some wave 4. So probably this will not be the time where the Celsius will actually collapse, at least for now. But with cryptos, you never know. You know already what the Celsius do. They also have staked ETH, which is now blocked. So many of these developments, but it's a new industry. It's completely understandable. So I don't see this as a still beginning of a new downtrend. So for now, excuse my my observation, but Celsius still doesn't look so bad. Wave 1, wave 2, up in wave 3, some type of complex wave 4, and then a continuation for now. Okay. Okay, so hi Alex, I'm late in. Hello Lawrence, but could you see American bond market go belly up? I already explained. Could you have a look at the junk bonds next time? Yeah, we can look that. Hi, top show, come from Germany. Can you chart Leone stock? We are basically crypto service, so guys, don't aim for stocks. We have a service for that. I will look that for you now. Again, you don't have to say it's a great work. Anyhow, I will look at it. I think Leone is the production of the auto parts, if I'm wrong, or I don't know. On which exchange is Leone? If I see this correct. There is also on probably a German company, I guess. Looks kind of a nice, or looks like 5 waves up and some type of either a flat or a complex correction. So I would say here, yeah, look here, these levels might be close to some type. So what do you want to see? And what I always look is move up, challenging previous swing highs, and then a small pullback, and then you have a stop loss very small. Okay, if this is the stock, so doesn't look so bad, I would say. Shiba, Alex, where do you see crypto markets reaching all-time highs? And I really don't know that. Depends how this picture develops. If I'm right with my wave count, which is also a probability, that might be around the beginning or the end of the 2024. I've posted on my Twitter something which I kind of find nice. You might seen that before, but it kind of agrees with this outlook. I'm not looking for a backup for my wave count. I was releasing this wave count 2 years when nobody was looking bearish. So I'm not looking to backing up my view. I'm just seeing as a nice add-on. So this is the halving cycle, as you know, a Bitcoin halving cycle. So if you look how the price went and behaved before and after halving, almost every halving, we usually had these drops in the middle between the halvings. So this chart was issued when Bitcoin was 37. Somebody issued it DLE 24. So thank you for this, Dilly. Nice chart. If you are looking, or if you're going to look Crypto Lab, I hope you approve we use this because I think it's very nice. So this kind of have a frequency. You can take it as a seasonality before halving, okay? So you have a nice move on the upside, and then you have a pullback, a kind of a 70% pullback. And then you have a nice upside, and in the middle of that upside, you have a halving. Okay, more or less, depends on the cycle. And then you have another drop between this halving, also in the similar fashion as the previous halving cycle, and then you have another move on the upside going through halving, and then you have another drop, which is current one. And when this price targets of 20K where we are, I think this one goes back to 18, which is also possible. I will tolerate that. Of course, 2K up and down in a basing process is not very much for cryptos. But again, you will see it basically makes the same thing. It's gonna find some support, maybe go back and forth, and then through the halving, it's going to continue up before we see a new downtrend. So I see this as a nice sequence, nice kind of. There is a many things which you can actually. You see these red zones. It was nicely correlated. So you can see many things on this chart which kind of works perfectly in the past. It doesn't mean, of course, it's going to work in the future, but it backs up also my view how the things will develop. So and I like how this is done. So I wanted to show you this as well, and it's on my Twitter page. You can follow me on Twitter. I do publish many things free. Also, if you want to check us out, we have a crypto service, extensive one, and I can say now freely we have we had a strategy to preserve capital over these downturns, and I think we did successfully actually perform that with our clients. So maybe we're going to hit a jackpot, and maybe we are going to not, but we are going to be very cautious on beginning risk before we see some type of confirmation. So I think that this was interesting to see and to show you. Ada and Hex, please, overlooked my comment. Mr. Garrick, I don't usually fulfill everything because this crypto lab will last for hours. So let's look Ada. Yeah, so Ada, I look this as an ABC in a fourth wave. Doesn't matter in a context, even if you put this as a 5-wave move and an ABC on the downside, equality of these two comes at 0.384. Okay, so this will be a 5 waves down, 3 waves up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a little bit more downside, and this level needs to hold. And usually when you're facing this and even looking for a complex correction, you will see a sizable retracement in 3 waves up to 1.2. If we are passing that, it means that the new uptrend is starting. Okay. So this is the key levels. If you look chart of ADA, around 0.3841. Okay. Sorry, I keep switching back in this OBS between intro and different scenes. Maybe I didn't see it correctly, just checking. Hi Alex, Celsius from Celsius was 0.20, so now 0.50. I think it said something. No, I said that I don't see still a sizable downtrend to start. I don't know if this is the right chart, guys. I mean, let me look Celsius or some other. Maybe this is freezed. Oh, you're looking this one. Okay, so let me find that. Let me find the longer term chart. Is there a longer term chart on Celsius? No idea. 7, 8. So if this is a move down, let's deal with this from the highs. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or some type of a wave A up in B, 1, 2, 3, 4. It might be the low, but as I said, I mean, you need to see 5 waves up, and I always say that that's a very, very good telling if this is some type, at least a corrective bounce higher up to 2, 3 again, or for now this is just a 3 waves, so this is still, if it starts to move lower, bound to collapse further. So what do you need to see? Maybe this is some type of a triangulation, another push on the upside to have a 5-wave sequence. So for now you have only 3 waves, which gives you or puts you in danger for a further downside. So that's why I think it's very important to wait some type of a confirming price action from the Elliott Wave lens. Okay. Okay, guys, so let's look link, and that will be the end for today's Crypto Lab. Let me see what I have on link. I think I have a 4th wave correction on link still. I don't see yet anything of this to be RSI is at 30, it's lowest in history of link, as you can see, and we are trading around half of the way from here. So I will still gonna label this exactly at our target as wave 4 with the potential move up in wave 5. Okay, so there is, when you have an Elliott wave sequence, you need to see a clear wave count invalidation so that your wave count is not valid if this is not the leading diagonal, and it's not. Okay, so when you see a possible pullback down, even if this is just an ABC or ABC for W, X, A, up in B, down in C in 5 waves, reaching some of the levels usually you look and the RSI lower, there is a bigger probability that this will, after some basing process, at least have some 5 waves up and a 3 waves pullback before we continue higher. At least I'm looking currently at that situation. So thank you guys for the attention. Always glad to have you at the Crypto Lab. No guests yet. I promised. I got many comments in that regard. It has been tricky times the last 2 weeks. Everybody is so busy. So yeah, maybe the guests after September. Vacations are going to start. Maybe we're going to see some sideways, some basing process, some uninterested price action over the summer, and volatility might come back, or it might still persist. We will see. So thank you guys for the attention. Please click the like button and subscribe. Something which I don't have fun saying, but at least we need that for the Google algorithm. So we are still very lacking, I would say. I mean, we are climbing slowly, but compared to this, I would say, marketing crypto, advertising crypto longs channels, we are far behind. So do something about it. Click the subscribe button and let us win this race with this I would say semi-educated crypto pumpers. Okay guys, so see you next time, and next week Crypto Lab still. I'm planning a vacation, so I will let you know. Still I might do a Crypto Lab even if I'm in a vacation, so it will be from the probably some beach, but who gives anything about the surroundings. It's the contact is important. So I'm not going to stop in these interesting times, and either from this or from other locations. See you guys next week, and trade carefully. Look for confirmations, look for a basing process which can give you clues. Don't jump into it. Don't pick the bottoms, because on the end there is an old trader saying, who is picking the bottom usually gets the lower part. So no reason for that, guys. No reason for that. You have your analysis, your plan, and if your plan is working, it's going to be shown by confirming price action that you can then take the risk and perform what is your plan. So plan your trade and trade your plan was the beginning. I will say the famous sentence from founder of trading analysis, Todd Gordon, which is now in a new new age wealth management business. So if you are found or you like to see that, there is YouTube market assessment by his new company. So I strongly advise you also to look that as well. So see you guys next week. Bye bye.